This thing called the Elijah List. It's a guy on Facebook that has on prophets of God. Dude's name is Steve Schultz on the left. The prophet here is Robin Bullock. I want to listen to how they prophesy about God. Bound to be absurd. So let's give this a listen, see what they have to say to each other. While we do, we're going to play some Pokemon Fire Red. It's drugs. I'm 99% certain. There you go.
About himself. So when he did, the earth imploded and there was a war. Now you know what caused it. He was trying to create a trans being.
Okay, wait a minute now. I'm sorry. Where did this trans being thing come into the equation? I thought we were just talking about creating a magical boy band. When did we start talking about being trans again?
To make a man. He wanted a body for himself. He couldn't do it.
Oh, wait. So, okay. I think I understood. So he's saying Satan wanted to have a twig and berries, basically, but he wasn't like born with twig and berries. So when he created a body, that was him turning trans? This is wild.
The earth fell apart, Genesis 1:2, and the earth became without form and void. So when it came time for the man to be created and God put it back together in 6
Okay, I wrote it down. Satan is the first trans person. I think that's what he's saying.
part, Genesis 1:2, and the earth became without form and void.
Look, I am the most supportive person on planet Earth for the trans community, the gay community. You be who you want to be. That's what it's all about. But I don't think about people's twig and berries as much as this dude seems to. Matter of fact, I think about it as little as humanly possible. I would rather not have that shit on my mind, honestly. Like twig and berries, that is. But this guy can't help himself but to think and talk about it nonstop. He even shoehorns it into things that, like, in which it doesn't belong.
So when it came time for the man to be created and God put it back together in 6 days, when he put it all together, he's going to raise.
Wait, he said God put it back together in 6 days. So is he saying that this stuff existed before and then man destroyed it and then God reassembled it in 6 days?
So when it came time for the man to be created and God put it back together in 6 days, when he put it all together, he's going to raise the man up from the ground. He tells the man when he raises him up, he says,
by the way, what he's reading right now, if it's not straight, just quoted directly from the Bible, then it's from him as a prophet of God. He believes himself to receive divine revelation, and God gives him these messages about all this stupid shit.
man be in my image, after our likeness. Let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, the fowl of the air, the cattle over all the earth, everything that creeps upon the earth. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him. Male, female created he them. God blessed them, said unto them, be fruitful, multiply, replenish the earth, and subdue it. Put it under your feet. It. What is the it?
Your mother.
He says, put it under your feet and have dominion over the fish of the sea and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth.
Yeah, subdue it. God's creation. Like, have dominion over it. Like, I'm giving this to you. It's your thing. Now you can do what you want with it. That's how I read it.
Think about it.
Well, yeah, what is, I mean, you just asked the question and subdue it. What is it? Yeah, I mean, well, he said the earth, replenish the earth, subdue it.
Yeah, he's talking about creation.
What
needed to be subdued if everything's perfect?
That's the point.
Yeah.
The seed that Lucifer sowed, and Isaiah 14 records for us, that was going to come up when the earth came back together. Those seeds in that song of him becoming a man, him, the Antichrist, he's going to start, it's going to come up. And the Lord told Adam, said, when you see it.
Wait, I thought that the Antichrist and Satan were two different things, aren't they?
Put it under your feet and subdue it.
Yeah, oh my God, this guy is just like creating new lore as he goes. He's claiming that God knew that Satan wanted to be trans. Oh my God, dude, this is nuts. I gotta write this one down too. 50, let's see. God knew Satan wanted to be trans, so he warned Adam to step on his head when he sees him, so he doesn't get to be trans. Okay.
And do not let it up. That's why he told him, you have dominion over animals. Do not let them do this again.
You know, people saying like, hold on, people saying make it up as you go along. That's the thing. I don't think he's making this up as he goes. I think that he wrote this shit down and studied it and like lined all of this up in an ideology that he is now preaching as reality. I don't think this is like a spur of the moment thing. I think he believes this crazy shit.
Lucifer tried in the first world, transhuman, trans this, trans that, trying to mingle seed with animals.
Okay, wow. So Satan wanted to be a man with a twig and berries, but the best he could manage was a snake, a serpent. I guess they have twig and berries too, but since he wanted to transition to a man, that means that he was transgender. Okay. Oh my God.
That's why the giants came. It was the same thing in Genesis 6. I know this all sounds wild.
Yeah, a little bit. It sounds wild. Wow. We are getting a rare glimpse of self-awareness from Robin Bullock. The giants came, according to the Bible, because demons wanted to sleep with humans, and they did, and they got them pregnant, and they had children, and those children were Nephilim, and they were, like, big. That's not because demons wanted to be humans. That was them just wanting to sleep with humans, right? Okay.
Giants, the Nephilim came after the...
They did not, oh my God. Nephilim did not come to Earth. They were the children of demons. Are you serious right now? Am I the idiot? That's possible. Maybe I'm the idiot here.
Creation, because the enemy was still trying to do it. He just kept working at it.
And it brought a flood in on the first time he tried it.
Yeah.
Because it said there were waters, death-filled. It says, when it says here in the earth, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved up on the face of the waters.
Yeah.
The word waters there is the word death-filled, semen-filled water.
Dude, this guy is gross, honestly. He's like disgusting. One more time. I'm sorry. I just feel like I have to understand what he's saying.
The Spirit of God moved up on the face of the waters.
Yeah.
The word waters there is the word death-filled, semen-filled water.
Okay, hang on now. Let me write this down. 51 minutes. So he says, God moved across the waters of the earth, right? Is that what he's saying? The waters of the earth. That really means death-filled waters. Where did he get this? Was he just like told that, you know, this is how language works or whatever? This is like really gross.
Waters.
Really?
Yep. And it says ignorant death.
So are mountains the boobs then? That's a good question. Is Earth the footstool and Jupiter the hairbrush?
Was up on those waters. And you know, God didn't create it ignorant death. It was what happened. He's trying to become a man. He wants a back, eyebrows, skins, and blood bags. And he's doing this, and now you know what brought it in.
Where did he come up with all of this nonsense?
In Genesis 6, they were using genetically altered everything, and another flood came. The earth can't handle that. And so...
Wait a minute. I don't know who they is that was using this genetically altered whatever, but the earth had 2 floods, and it can't handle 2 floods? When was the second one? What was the second one called? We had Noah's flood, and then what else? This is the best, worst fan fiction I've ever heard. Yeah. I like to say, this is the best example of absolutely insane that I've ever heard. I say the same thing about sandwiches if they're bad. I'm like, this is the perfect example of a bad sandwich.
Well, the Lord told Adam, said, you have dominion over the animals. You're above the animals. You're not an animal. You're a male and a female. You have
But they are animals.
Dominion over that. Jesus talked about, alluded to some of this when he said, he sees every sparrow and you're worth many sparrows. He's trying to tell you your position.
Yeah.
Okay, doesn't mean they're not like animals, though, right? Miracle says, now I'm wishing I was feeling the Xanax again. This is too bonkers. This is my Xanax right here. This is so ridiculously entertaining to listen to the insane shit that these people come up with. Oh my God.
Everything.
Well, even his description of the animals, he names a bunch of them, but he says, and everything that creepeth. In other words, if you're not standing upright with two legs,
that's the truth.
You creepeth on the earth. That's
but you don't creepeth on the earth, quote unquote, if you don't stand upright. Sometimes people walk on four legs, or hell, I mean, I don't understand. Like, people aren't all snakes, or animals aren't all snakes that creepeth on the earth or whatever. So if you don't have two legs, then you creep automatically? What about monkeys that like walk on 2 feet sometimes? Do they not creep?
the only other option,
Right, but why would he have to tell him that?
Yeah, that's actually...
He didn't. He didn't tell anybody anything. This is all straight out of Bullock's head.
That's a good question.
Because Lucifer had tried this already. He had tried this before. And it said that world, Peter talks about it in the New Testament, said that world completely perished.
Well,
oh, wow. Okay, that's what he meant when he said he recreated it in 6 days. God created a world previously. This is world number 2, ? Okay? And apparently Peter talked about world number 1?
Well, that I always wondered about years ago before I'd heard any of this kind of teaching that you're giving, where in the thing it says, be fruitful and multiply and replenish.
Replenish.
Yeah, and I'm going, what do you mean?
Okay, replenish, not replenish. Did you hear this guy?
Heard any of this kind of teaching that you're giving, where in the thing it says, be fruitful and multiply and replenish.
Replenish.
Yeah.
Replenish. There's no T in there anywhere. Oh my God. This guy is insane.
Yeah, and I'm going, what do you mean replenish? I never understood that. Yeah.
It doesn't say replenish. Sorry, I shouldn't be like that. I'm not like that. I'm not going to be that guy who's always insulting people. It says replenish. Plenish. There is no T in the word. Is there? No, there's not. They're just complete. Okay. I'm not going to do that. I'm not doing that.
It used to be plenished.
Yeah.
Jeremiah chapter 4 says there were cities.
Yeah.
There were fruitful places.
I love it. This guy on the right said the word wrong. Replenish rather than replenish. And the guy on the left thought he was correcting him by saying replenish. So the guy on the left starts saying replenish also. They're so stupid. This is how idiocy spreads right here.
Ask you about that. So there was a pre-creation as we know it. There were they also humans, or were
no, because this is what Jeremiah said. He said there were cities. Well, we could look at it.
Okay, see, this is what I'm talking about. I don't believe that these people are coming up with this on the spot. I think that he has thought this out thoroughly and has come to the conclusion that Satan wanted to be trans, and that what was the other stuff? God warned Adam that Satan was roving around trying to earn his twig and berries or something. I don't know. And that the canopy of ice over the earth was a PA system. Oh my God. Like Kat Kerr. Yeah, they're friends. I mean, they've gone to each other's churches and stuff. They have similar beliefs. Bullock claims to have visited heaven also.
Chapter 4.
Okay.
Get them to pull that up right quick. We can take a moment and see.
Yeah, sure, because that's, I've never had that explained. Jeremiah 4, okay?
And it's very important, I think, we need to look at. So when you get to talk about stuff this, this strong.
If thou wilt return, O Israel, saith the Lord, return unto me, and if thou wilt put away God, I hate the King James version. If you'll return, Israel, says the Lord, return to me. And if you'll put away your abominations out of my sight, then shalt thou not remove. I don't know what the hell that means. I'm lost. What does this have to do with Satan being trans again?
All my Bible pages are sticking together. Give me just a minute.
Sure.
Okay, Jeremiah 4. Let's look at verse 24.
Okay.
No, 23. Let's look at that. Okay, Jeremiah being a prophet, he looks forward in time or backward in time. This is what he said. He said,
Okay, I thought that prophets looked forward, but all right.
I beheld the earth, and lo, it was without form and void. Whoa! He just nailed Genesis 1.
No, he quoted Genesis 1, but okay.
He sure did, didn't
And
he?
the earth became without form and void. So now we know what time he's looking at.
You know what's interesting? Actually, this verse doesn't say that there was nothing before God came along. It says that the earth existed and water existed too, like the oceans existed. So God didn't create the earth. He created the stuff on the earth, according to the original language. But okay.
Isn't that right?
Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know that was there.
Yeah, it says, and without form and void, and the heavens, and they had no light. He said, I beheld the mountains, and lo, they trembled, and all the hills moved lightly. I beheld, and lo, there was no man. So this was a time before there were men. There were mountains, there were heavens, there had no light, there were mountains, because
he already said mountains.
They trembled. There were hills. They moved around. He said there was no man, and all the birds of the heaven were fled. So there were birds. They ran away.
Interesting.
Oh my God, none of this makes any sense. So the sun didn't exist, but the earth existed, and the birds could still see, apparently, to fly around. Am I reading this correctly?
Interesting.
And then he says, I beheld, and lo, the fruitful place, the paradise, became a wilderness. He said the paradise, lo, the fruitful place was a wilderness, and all the cities thereof were broken down at the presence of the Lord and by his fierce anger.
Jeez.
So there was mountains, hills, birds, fruitful places, and cities, but no man. So in other words,
there were cities. Where did he get cities from? Hang on. All of the cities thereof were broken down in the presence of the Lord and by his fierce anger. Okay, now hang on. So it looks like this is like a psalm, like a song that's being, or like a poem, it appears. I looked on the earth, and it was waste and void, and to the heavens, and they had no light. I looked on the mountains, and they were quaking, and all the hills moved to and fro. I looked, and lo, there was no man, and all the birds of the air had fled. I looked, and lo, the fruitful land was a desert, and all its cities were laid in ruins before the Lord, before his fierce anger. So, you know what? The way I'm interpreting this is he's looking forward. It says the earth was waste and void. I'm not sure he's even, because it doesn't say the earth was waste and void in Genesis 1:1. It says it was formless and empty. So in this one, he's saying it's waste and empty rather than formless and empty. So it was destroyed and empty. So it sounds like it's saying that God is going to destroy everything, not looking back to the beginning. Now, let me just check Genesis 1:1 to be sure of the exact verbiage being used. And oh my God, my Bible's pages are stuck together. Yeah, here we go. God created the heavens and the earth. Earth was formless and empty. Darkness was over the surface of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters. And he said, let there be light. This is saying it's waste and void. So it was destroyed and empty. And the birds had fled because they were presumably afraid of what God had done. But in Genesis 1:1, there were no birds. There was no nothing. So I'm interpreting this as saying God destroyed everything out of anger. It says before his fierce anger. And hang on, where did I? And Robin Bullock is saying this is looking back to Genesis 1:1 rather than what it actually seems to be, which is looking forward to like the end when God destroys everything. That's my interpretation. So it seems to me that Robin Bullock is just like reinterpreting this to fit his own ends, basically.
So there was mountains, hills, birds, fruitful places, and cities, but no man.
Well, destroyed cities, and there were no birds because they fled because they were afraid of God's anger after he destroyed everything.
So in other words, the earth was being prepared.
I see.
It wasn't being prepared. It had been destroyed.
For the man that was coming.
Oh, I see. So the cities existed in preparation for man, but man was not there yet. I see.
Yeah, and the wild thing about
that didn't happen, though. That's like a complete misinterpretation.
How they were prepared was from the songs and the frequencies of Lucifer. See, the preparation was made in the revelation he would find in the stones of fire. He would lift himself up, and him being an instrument, he would begin to play. It would reverberate around the earth, and he would sing what was coming. And the frequencies and the sounds would begin to shape things in the earth, getting ready for what God was going to create.
Wait, so is Robin Bullock saying that Satan used his voice to destroy everything, to break it all down in preparation for God building it up? I don't understand what the hell he's talking about right now. I'm so lost, it's not even funny.
And so it was in preparation. And so there were cities, there were all of this, and then he found the revelation of the man. And he realized, I don't need these cities. I don't need any of this. I'm an angelic being. What is this man that you're mindful of him? And it filled him with violence. And he sang the song, Steve, about himself. And he began to try to make a mingling of genetic seed.
As far as you believe.
Oh, okay. And that's where Satan became trans. I see.
And this seems to teach, this is like the moment or the moments, if we can, where sin enters Satan. Evil was found in him.
When he sang that song about himself.
That was when it started.
Yeah, it started when he found the revelation.
Yeah.
And he was not going to be. See, there's only 5 levels of authority.
Yeah.
Oh, we have different levels of authority?
God, man, angels, animals, and plants. 5 kingdoms.
Yeah.
Kingdom of God, kingdom of man, kingdom of angels, animal kingdom, and the plant kingdom.
Okay, but there are more quote-unquote kingdoms than just that, right? Like, what? Why is he talking about? Is he talking about like clades, or is he talking about families, or what's he even referring to exactly?
That's what the devil showed Jesus on the mountain, was the kingdoms of the earth. He said, they were given to me. I'll give them to whoever will bow to me, whoever I want to. And Jesus said, you get behind me. You don't even belong up here. Well, see, before man, there was only 4 Lucifer knew of. There was God, angels, animals, and plants.
Oh, so angels are like a species then, right?
But then man was added, a position between angels and God. He didn't know there was a spot open between.
Wait a minute. So he's saying that man is superior to angels? And as Sengier points out, no, so bacteria are animals? Yes. This is just nonsensical garbage.
In him and God. He wanted that position.
Yeah.
And so he was going to have to bow to this man.
Well, yeah, I mean, imagine if you're even able to be tempted as an angelic being, suddenly realizing that you've had direct connection with God and there was no one else, and all of a sudden God says, someone else is going to be created and he's going to be greater than you.
Oh, dude, are they justifying Satan being a shithead right now? It sounds like that's what they're doing.
My image and likeness.
Yeah, see? It's going to look more like me than he looks like you, or whatever he would.
Yeah, because he's not an angel. It's this one's going to be in my image. Yeah. In other words, everything you've been singing about, and the earth even shifting itself till rocks built a city for the man that was coming.
Oh, so cities existed before Adam and or Eve came along then, right, is what he's saying? God created the cities on Adam and Eve's behalf? This is insane.
because everything lived, everything was alive, there was no sin. And so everything would move around, everything. Then suddenly he finds out, wait a minute, this is what I did it for. This man's coming. And you've given him dominion over everything, over the fish of the sea, the fowl of the air, over the cattle, over all the earth. You've given him dominion over all the works of your hands, and you made the sun and moon with your fingers, your hands, and you've given him dominion over this. You crowned him with glory. He said, you made him a little lower than you. He said, what is this man? Well, he don't know what he looks like, but he knows in the revelation he found he's going to have a back, eyebrows, skins, and blood bags.
Okay, and Satan, being trans, wants to transition to being a man. Okay?
He knows this. And so he said, when he got ready to sing the song, he sang it, not the man will, think about it, the song should have went like this. The man will have dominion over the earth. The man will be exalted above the stars of God. The man will do this. He didn't sing it that way. He said, I will.
Okay. Is he telling us how Satan sang a song right now?
I will. So now he's got to try to get a body for himself, for his seed. So he begins to use the animal kingdoms in that time. And that's why the Lord told him. And the earth can't support such a thing.
I don't remember that. I remember the story going, Satan just took over a snake body or a serpent body or whatever the hell. No, okay, I'm sorry. I'm getting this all confused. Now, wait a second. Let me just start over. I've been buying into his whole framework entirely too much, more than is warranted. Genesis doesn't say that Satan was the snake. It says a snake approached Eve and said, you should eat from that tree because it looks really good. And God's lying to you. And the snake was absolutely 100% accurate with that. God was lying. He told them they would die the day they ate from the tree, and they did not. They lived for another 900 years or something. People later on wrote into the story that it was Satan. When the story was written, Satan did not exist as a character. So anyway, let's just for a moment assume that he's talking about Satan here. He's saying that Satan was trans and that he did things with animals rather than the actual story about Nephilim, which is where demons did things with humans, not animals. What are they talking about here? Yeah, it's a story about why snakes have no legs, right? What?
It's not made for that. So the cities were broken down. The fruitful places became a wilderness. It brought a flood in on the earth.
By the way, when you see where God says, let there be light, and then the Garden of Eden is there, and you got these 7 days. Do you believe that the whole, because it says fill the earth and replenish it. So was there only the Garden of Eden that was finished off and beautiful and the rest had to be subdued? Or was the whole earth remade new instantly?
Well, Psalm 104 says this. It's the record of Genesis 1.
Okay.
And it says, and he reneweth, said he rebuked the water and it fled. Okay. In other words, and everything began to be put back in place.
Okay.
And he said, see, God created it in 6 days.
Yeah.
I mean, even in the original creation, people think it took thousands and thousands. No, it lay dormant for no telling how many years.
Yeah, it could have been.
Wait, so God creates everything immediately, but so he's saying that he created things and then just hung out for a while, just chilled and let things exist for 1,000 years. And then he started creating it. What, do you get lazy? You want to go for a beer or something? I don't understand. Why did God just stop creating for 1,000 years or something? What?
And eons for all we know, but in our thing, but I mean, evening and morning was each day. So it was very clear in the context that these were 24-hour days.
Yeah. And what he's saying is, see, in the first one, when he created, it was all ready to go.
All right, look, I got to address this. The book of Genesis is a specific style of writing called antiquity literature. This style of writing is not historical narrative the same way that, like a history book is or whatever. It's a collection of anecdotes and campfire stories. A good analogy to the book of Genesis would be the story of the scorpion and the frog. Scorpion comes up to the frog and says, "Hey, can you take me across the river?" Frog says, "No, if I take you, you're going to sting me and then we're both going to die." And the scorpion says, "No, I swear, bro, I'm not going to do that." So he gets on the back of the frog, and halfway through, the scorpion stings the frog. Frog says, "Why'd you do that? We're both going to die now." And the scorpion said, "Because I'm a scorpion, and that's what scorpions do." I don't know what the point of that story is, but whatever. That's the story. It had talking animals. It had a moral lesson of some sort. Just like the book of Genesis. It's a campfire story that is told for campfire story reasons. That's it. That's the book of Genesis. It's not supposed to describe a real life, literal, historical situation. It was never intended to do that. So when this guy says, like, he's just building out this entire ridiculous world out of the Genesis stories, it's like, it's embarrassing.
Each day, so it was very clear in the context that these were 24-hour days.
Yeah, and what he's saying is, see, in the first one, when he created, it was all ready to go for the man. Then the war of Lucifer happened, the rebellion, and it imploded. When it imploded, then all that world completely perished. Anything in it, science trying to find the missing link.
Yeah.
They can't.
Science is not trying to find any missing link. What are you talking about, bro? We have all of the links that we need to understand that evolution is real. Where did he come up with this missing link shit?
When it imploded, then all that world completely perished. Anything in it, science trying to find the missing link.
Yeah.
They can't find it because it's missing.
Yeah.
Okay. No, it's not. And that's kind of implied by the name a little bit, right?
It never was there.
Yeah.
And so the man hadn't come yet. And so when it imploded, it lay there.
Like, dude is saying that God created a first set of humans before Adam and Eve, and they lived on the planet and were all happy and everything until he decided to destroy it because he's pissed off at them. And then he created Adam and Eve again, like a second pair of brand new humans. What I don't understand is, why didn't God, when they messed up again, presumably, did the first pair mess up? I assume so. When he created Adam and Eve, the second pair, and they messed up, why didn't he give them a vasectomy, send them to America, let them live out the rest of their lives in peace, and create a new breeding pair? I'm just some ass over here. I'm not some 180 IQ genius, and I just came up with that on the spot. Is God really so stupid that he wasn't intelligent enough to come up with a basic solution that some idiot human came up with in 5 minutes?
But if you read the next verse in Jeremiah 4, he says this, after it fell apart, he said, "For this hath the Lord said, the whole land shall be desolate, yet will I not make a full end." In other words,
okay, I have no idea what that means.
I'm going to bring it back. And so he
is dead set on this. God created a breeding pair before Adam and Eve line, isn't he? This is so fascinating. He's just like completely breaking Christianity with all of this.
However long.
By the way, you know that sin did not exist in the Old Testament? I've been reading a lot about Germany in the the 1920s and the 1930s, and there was a process that they underwent where they de-Judaified Christianity. They removed Judaism from the religion entirely, and they replaced Judaism as its, like its origin myths and stuff. They replaced it with their own Aryan supernatural origin stories or whatever. And actually, interestingly enough, they got a lot of things correct when they were de-Judaifying it. For example, sin, the concept of sin was added later to Christianity. They were right about that. Let's see, what other things were they right about? God, I don't even remember all of them right now. I'm going to write them down in my book when I get to that point. But they claimed that Jesus was not born of a virgin, but of like a Roman soldier. That was a weird one. But anyway, the point is that like Robin Bullock seems to be creating a brand new origin myth based on an entirely new version of Christianity. Like, this isn't even, what is he, Baptist? Is he Pentecostal? I don't know what he originally claimed to be. He's not those things anymore. He doesn't represent standard run-of-the-mill Christianity anymore. I mean, he's still a Christian, of course, because he follows Christ, and he purports to follow Christ at the very least. So he's Christian. It's just a weird version of Christian.
I not make a full end. In other words, I'm going to bring it back. And so and however long science needs, I don't care.
Yeah.
That's how long it lay there.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't care how long it.
Oh, so he's an old earth creationist then. Jehovah's Witnesses are old earth creationists also. They think that God took breaks or whatever. And they've come up with like really wild ways of like twisting things around and, you know, bringing like scientific knowledge into the belief system and everything. It looks like that's what he's kind of doing a little bit too. Although he's completely ascientific when it suits him. Like it's this clip right here. This is from late February 2022. This is him coming up with ascientific nonsense just for the sake of it.
And you have to ask yourself this: how did he move those timbers around?
Talking about Noah. How did Noah move timbers?
yeah.
How did he pick up those timbers and move them around?
The answer is he didn't, because it's a fake story. It was antiquity literature. It was just an entertaining story that was told around campfires. But Robin Bullock has to come up with some way of making this reality.
Well, there's something called, everything has a frequency.
Yeah.
This AirPod case has a frequency. If
Ew, he has AirPod version 1.
you could, because it's made of matter,
Right.
if you could match the frequency of this AirPod case and you knew what it was and you could match it, you could pick it up off the ground without touching it.
No, you can't. I looked into this and like I'm not even quite sure exactly what he means here, but I assume what he's talking about is like the atomic oscillation or whatever. Is that what he means? I believe that if you match a frequency of the wave function vibrations or whatever you call it, I believe that it just leads to heating the object up a lot. Resonance frequency, yeah. I think it heats it up. It doesn't actually lift anything. I don't even know what the hell he's talking about.
Just through sound. It had to be moved with sound. Well, that's brilliance of mind that we don't possess right now.
Brilliance of minds. It takes brilliance to be able to match an atomic frequency. Okay. I mean, I don't know how one would even go about doing that if you had the knowledge.
We see, all the technology just actually showed how dumb man has become in comparison to how smart Noah and Adam and all of them were. And you have to ask yourself.
Yeah, sorry. Totally. We are idiots compared to those people who hadn't even hit the Iron Age yet. That checks out.
This.
Anyway, yeah. Robin Bullock is just a joke, man. Just a joke.
I mean, it's like we were just saying it could have been eons, it could have been hundreds or thousands of years,
Sure.
or it could have been the next day he started all over. We don't.
Yeah, however long science needs, I don't care.
Yeah, because
and so then, but I know in Psalm 104.
So is he like acknowledging the legitimacy of science then?
It tells that he renewed the face of the earth. And so he put it back together.
And that part where it says he renewed the face of the earth, are you equating that with let there be light and then 6 days happen? Is that when he did it?
Yeah.
Because my question, back to that same question then, was the whole earth then all fixed up in those 6 days, or just...
it was ready. In other words, everything had come back to the point. It was a beautiful place. Everything was right.
So to get his belief system straight here, he's saying God created a breeding pair of human beings. They pissed him off and he killed them all. And he destroyed their cities. And then he created another breeding pair, Adam and Eve. And he let them live in the old people's cities. Okay.
It was beautiful, but it hadn't necessarily been tamed,
replenished,
whatever.
He keeps saying replenished. He said that like 6 times. Does he know what the word is?
Whatever that would. I mean, there's probably things that we don't even, because.
That's the truth.
Oh, and hey, not to start a whole new subject, but the dinosaur period, this would have been in the first.
Oh my God, it's so stupid. It's so stupid, it's painful.
I think it was first and after.
Oh, both. Okay.
Oh,
He thinks, suddenly he thinks. Up to this point, he's known this information. Why is he going with, I think, with the dinosaurs?
yeah, I
Okay.
think so because, well, I know it's probably another subject, but
Yeah, a different time, but okay. So that's a pretty good answer. So it was both. Okay.
I think
These
so.
These were beautiful creatures that God created
But
before
you can find some of them. Well, we'll get ahead of ourselves, but watch. And I want to believe this or not, this is coming right up to the DNC.
I'm not sure what he's talking about. The DNC, like the Democratic National Convention, that already happened in 2024. What's he talking about? I should put it on my soundboard. Replenished, right? So stupid.
I know.
You mean that right up to the debate? Are you talking about the DNC?
Yeah, right up to this election.
I don't understand, and I don't think Steve Schultz knows either.
Yeah.
I mean, this actually pertains.
Really?
Yeah, I mean,
How?
Okay.
How does this connect to politics at all?
okay, I'm trying to do it as fast as I can,
Yeah,
but
I won't interrupt you anymore.
no, you keep interrupting because
Well,
that's
we've
how
got
we
about
learn.
20 minutes just because
Well,
I
we'll
have
get
another
it.
show.
We'll
Yeah,
get
I want you to have all the time you need there.
We'll get it.
Okay.
And so anyway, so then you see he started, more than likely, he began to genetically alter because the Bible talks about Lucifer was like a scientist.
It does? Did the word scientist exist in the Bible? What are you talking about? Lucifer was a scientist? This dude is in another reality. Completely.
He sealed up the sum, which that
Oh.
means he understood what made the tides come in and go out. He understood how the earth works.
Oh, we're going into Bill O'Reilly territory.
Tide goes in, tide goes out. Never a miscommunication. You can't explain that. You can explain why the tide goes in.
Tide goes in, tide goes
See, the
out.
water, the tide comes in and it goes out, Mr. Silverman.
Maybe
it
it's
always comes
Thor
in.
on top of
no,
Mount
it goes
Olympus,
out.
who's making the tides go in and out.
No, but you can't explain.
stand-
Tide goes in, tide goes out. Never a miscommunication. You can't explain that. It is so stupid, it's wrapped back around to funny.
Understands the moon, the stars. That's why he complained about the moon, the stars, all that stuff, and about man having dominion over animals. So here he's looking at all this stuff. So when he sings the song about himself, he starts a genetically altering program in the world before Adam.
Satan started a genetically altering program so that he could transition to being a man. That's really what this guy believes. Oh my God, dude.
And so, and it implodes the earth. It just implodes it. Well, what happened was, and when God brought it back to where it was, and then he said, man be, let us make man in our image after our likeness, let them have dominion. That's a king with a domain. Let him have dominion over the fish of the sea, the fowl of the air, the cattle, over all the earth, over everything.
Wait, does a domain necessitate having a king? I thought that, like, they were different from each other. Okay. I thought a kingdom was for a king, not a domain. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe so.
Thing creepeth upon the earth. So God created man the image of God, and created he him, male and female created he them. And God blessed them, and God said unto them, be fruitful, multiply, and replenish the earth, and subdue it. There's a seed that was planted before, and that's that semen-filled water.
Yeah.
Oh my God, dude. This guy is so weird. Why is he so weird? How did he get so weird? Who put these ideas into his head? And don't tell me it was God, because it wasn't. It's so creepy.
It was planted. When you see it come up, put it under your feet. Stop it before it begins, and have dominion. Then he says again, over the fish of the sea, over the fowl of the air, over everything that moveth upon the earth.
You know, fish in the sea, and you know what the sea is made of, right? Gonna have dominion over the fish in the sea.
Why would he tell him that again? It's because he said this is the way it happened and brought the flood. This is what's going to happen again. You are not an animal. You are not to mingle with animals. You are a human. You are in my image, my likeness. You have dominion. This is the kingdom, the way it works.
As Kitty Mom points out, dominion doesn't mean domination, right?
And when you see this thing start to raise up, put your foot on it and push it down.
Right. So he's saying Satan is most definitely going to invade, and you have to be ready for that, and you have to stamp him into the ground when you see him. Why didn't God just deal with Satan? I don't understand. Is Satan too powerful for God to deal with?
Now, what happens? Genesis 3. Look at Genesis 3:15. We got to do this quick. So look at Genesis 3:15. And then we want to show a video or two.
Okay.
It says, so when man sinned, we better look at Genesis 3, verse 1 first. I jumped ahead. It won't make any sense if I don't.
All right, we got it.
Now the serpent was more subtle or cunning than any beast of the field.
Right. The serpent, not Satan, the serpent. They're not the same. Satan wasn't even a concept at the time. This is punishment for snakes. They weren't allowed to have legs anymore because the snakes did this.
Which the Lord God had made. Now the beast and the animals are brought back into this again. Can you see how that's working?
I have no idea what he's talking about here.
See how they keep talking about, God keeps talking about these animals. And he says, and this one was more cunning than any beast of the field which the Lord God had made. And he said unto the woman, yea, hath God said, ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden? And the woman said, just keep following me on these verses. And the woman said unto the serpent, we may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God has said, ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die.
But that wasn't true, because she touched it, nay, ate from it, and didn't die that day, as God claimed.
Now watch what the next verse. And the serpent, look at this.
I'm looking.
And the serpent said unto the woman, ye shall not surely die. For God doth know that in the days ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil.
Which is exactly what happened, for the record. Sounds like Satan, in his mind, was correct, huh?
He said, God knows that in the day you eat of this, you shall be, your eyes will be opened.
You know that in the Bible, Satan never told one single lie, not one. But God lied like a bunch. That's weird, right? Is that weird to anybody else?
Be as gods, not God. Gods. You'll be as gods, knowing good and evil. You will.
Okay, I don't remember that being plural. Was that plural? And I just didn't notice? Hang on, let me look it up. For God knows when you eat of it, your eyes will be open. You'll be like God. One God, not multiple, not plural, singular, God, knowing good and evil. He's just like lying here. Oh, no, see, the footnote says, or gods. My mistake. He's still lying, just not about that. Okay.
Determine what's good and what's evil. You'll be as gods. Your eyes will be opened. Steve?
I get the impression that what that meant was that you will be like God, and you guys will be gods now, because you are like God. I don't think it was saying there are multiple gods. It was saying that you will be gods.
You shall be woke. You'll be
Oh, no, he's bringing politics into it.
woke if you'll just eat of this. Now, he didn't
Wokeism caused by Satan confirmed.
care how much she ate. She just had to eat. So he's trying to mingle. Satan's trying to do something again.
It wasn't Satan. It was a snake.
So he says, you'll be woke. Now,
He didn't say woke.
there's two videos that were sent to you of Kamala Harris.
Okay.
And one of them was from an older one, and the other was from a newer one.
Is she Satan?
I don't know which one you got, so just show
They've got a 32-second one and a 13-second one. Do you happen to know?
I don't care. Show the
Okay.
13-second one first.
Okay, well, here we go with that.
Okay, now listen close what you're hearing.
Okay.
You know, we have to stay woke. Like, everybody needs to be woke.
Is this real? I mean, I've seen a ton of AI shit come out of these people. Maybe it's real. I'm not saying it's not. I'm just skeptical of literally everything out of their mouths. Hold on, let me write this down. This is super fascinating. 1:10:30. Kamala Harris says you have to be woke. Robin Bullock says Satan created wokeism. Okay.
And you can talk about if you're the wokest or woker, but just stay more woke than less woke. Yeah.
I don't. Okay, go on.
Now you see that? You got to be woke. Your eyes have to be open. We don't care if you're big woke, little woke. Everybody just needs to be woke. Now you're looking at the DNA of the serpent right now. Now that's what you're looking at, because that's
Okay.
it's not in the that's a serpent. The serpent said that.
Yeah.
Your eyes will be open. Now play the next one and watch how she says they're going to take over.
Okay.
How they're going to win. This is how they're going to win. Go ahead.
Here we go.
Okay. And with your help this November, we will win.
With their help. No. You're telling me you're trying to get people to vote for you? Oh, that's wrong. That is straight up wrong.
We'll win. We will win. We will win. Because we're going to put in the hard work over the next 77 days.
Okay, she very obviously misspoke. If this is even real, again, I don't put anything past them. She meant hard work, clearly.
Did you hear that?
Oh my God. Kamala Harris, communist, confirmed. This is so stupid. We will put in the hard woke. Put the hard woke in where?
Yeah, the hard woke.
The hard woke. That's how we're going to win.
Oh, it's so stupid.
That we're going to wait a minute. Now, just hang on. We're going to win by the woke.
It makes no sense.
And that wasn't a sign to you that maybe you're just a. I'm sorry. I'm not that guy. I'm not going to make fun of people like that. I just think this is really stupid.